Abuli, can you tell us what are some of the favorite projects that you worked on?
Yes. So most of my work at Cura right now is under an NDA, so I can't really show you. We're technically in stealth mode. So I'll show you one of my projects that I worked on in college. It's a classroom project.
This is the project that you had worked on at NID.
Yes. So this is one of the classroom projects that I did in my time there. So this was done with one of my batchmates, Gorika. We were, and this was done in our third year for an 8-week project for it was a design project called Technically Complex Product. So it's basically a product in the neonatal care space. The reason that both of us decided to take up this project is because we wanted to work on something in healthcare. So we kind of started out by just exploring the domain and just going to a bunch of different hospitals and seeing if there were any needs that we could find. So I'll just give a very brief overview to neonatal care because I'll be using a few terminologies that won't make sense otherwise. So a neonate is basically any baby who is below 28 days of age. And so any neonate who is not stable or who is ill or who is premature or has a low birth weight is kept in a neonatal ICU, where the baby is basically kept in an incubator or a radiation warmer. The main effort here is almost to recreate the conditions of the womb so that the baby can recover better and kind of stabilize before they can go home with their mothers, right? And so what happens is that in India, you have a lot of rural areas or secondary healthcare centers in like tier 2, tier 3 cities where it's not always possible for the baby to get access to a neonatal ICU. And so this leads to a lot of infant mortality when that could be avoided if there was a better process of transporting the baby to the ICU. So when we started out with this project, we started by visiting NICUs in Ahmedabad. We went first to a government hospital. We wanted to see what the scenario is in a more resource constrained setting. So we went to VS Hospital in Ahmedabad where we saw their NICU. And we also went to the opposite end, which is like a bit more of a high-end private hospital, which is focused on neonatal care. What we wanted to understand was what are all the problems that exist in this space and how can we, like, which of these can we actually tackle, right? What is something that we can take up as our project? Also, as a little bit of background, so let's just talk about the kind of equipment that you use in a neonatal ICU, right? You have either a radiant warmer or you have an incubator. Both of these are just intended to maintain the baby's core body temperature. The radiant warmers are like an open trolley and the heat is provided from the top. And the incubators are a completely closed system where the heat is circulated and it's humidified as well. So the pros of the radiant warmer are that it's very easy to access the baby because it's completely open and it's very easy to clean the device and all of that. The pros of the incubator is that it's mainly used for babies who are extremely weak because it's a completely closed environment and it prevents the baby from losing water through their skin because it's a completely closed environment. The cons for radiant warmers are that the baby tends to lose moisture from their skin. So that's called epidermal water loss. And what we saw was that there tend to be a lot of jugards that they use to prevent this from happening. They literally put plastic wrap over the top of the radiant warmer to prevent this from happening, which is not ideal, obviously. And it also takes up a lot of vertical space because it's much taller than an incubator. The incubators, the main problem is that they're extremely expensive and they're very difficult to maintain. So most hospitals have very few of these and they're only used in very specific cases. And if you suddenly open the incubator, it can cause environmental shock for the baby. So it's something that they have to be very careful about. Now let's talk a little bit about how the baby ends up in these in the first place, right? So a typical scenario is that a baby is born in a primary healthcare center or in a maternity hospital, which may or may not have a neonatal ICU, right? So at that point, there's a lot of different steps that happen and it's a very convoluted process to actually get the baby into an NICU. So you have certain points in the process where the baby is just waiting, like they're just kept on hold for some time. In some points in the process, the baby is completely exposed to the external environment. And between all of these, you have the baby being moved manually by hand, because it's not like there's some high technology being used here, right? People are just kind of doing jugaad using the existing solutions that we have. So typically you would have the baby being born somewhere. They get checked by the doctor to see if they need any NICU care. And then, so at that point, they're kept in a radiant warmer, which is available to them. If they do, then they call a neonatal ambulance, which has its own specific type of incubator. It's called a transport incubator. So when they actually reach the hospital, they're kind of stalled until the moment that the parents complete a bunch of documentation. They have to do a lot of forms and all of that. And so at that point, the baby is kept in a radiant warmer. One of the things we saw here is that in resource constrained settings, they have multiple babies in the same radiant warmer, which is technically a very bad practice, but that's something that happens again because of resource constraints. And then finally, the baby makes it into the NICU, where they're kept in a radiant warmer or an incubator as per their needs, right? So based on all of this research, we kind of came down to fundamental problem areas that we wanted to address. Neither of these devices are technically an optimal solution for what a neonate needs. And because you need multiple devices across this entire process, it leads to a lot of high cost, and it reduces the accessibility of this kind of care. There's also repeated transfer between the devices. It increases the chances of infections and of the baby going into hypothermia. And you have very high wait times for NICU care because you have overcrowded hospitals with not enough staff. So our brief was that we wanted to create a single device that makes this entire process completely seamless, fast, and ideally less expensive. So these were the considerations that we had in mind when we were working on this concept. And we had two key innovations that kind of allowed us to change the way that you would typically look at these products. So this is where I found it really useful to be someone who was external to the healthcare system as a designer, because you're able to kind of relook at things that they consider established knowledge or established practices from a new perspective. So one of the things that we thought about was, why is it necessary for you to have that much space between the heating element and the baby? If we want to save a lot of space and make this a much more compact solution, we can provide radiant heat, but from below the infant. So that allows us to save a lot of space and easily transport the baby if needed. You would still have a sensor which is placed on the baby, which allows the temperature to be maintained. It's basically just like a thermostat, where if the baby's temperature goes up, the heating element switches off. And we redesigned the bed to allow heat to rise up in the environment without causing any burns. Another was this kind of false dichotomy between having to keep the baby completely open in a radiant warmer versus having to keep the baby completely closed in an incubator. In a practical scenario, it makes more sense to have something that's a little more flexible. So what we came up with was this idea of having a partially closing device. So you have something that is almost completely closed if needed, but if you need to easily access the baby, or if the baby is more stable, then you can kind of open the lid, or you can keep it half open. And if needed, you can even just completely collapse the sidewalls and lift out the entire tray bed, so that again, you're not touching the baby with your hands, you're touching the baby using a sterilized piece of equipment. So with both of these together, you kind of create an environment that is not compromising on the access aspect of the device, but is still protecting the baby and keeping it safe without leading to water loss, epidermal water loss. So at this point, we did a bunch of rough prototypes. And the solution that we came up with, I'll just quickly take you through how that scenario would work. So let's imagine that a maternity hospital has one of these devices on hold, which they can use to maintain neonates during the checkup process. If the patient needs to be transferred to an NICU, they can call an ambulance. And at that point, you can just disconnect the device from the power source, allow it to run on battery, and lift, just 1 or 2 doctors can just lift the entire device and carry it into the ambulance. Once they reach the hospital, which has the NICU, you can unload it onto a trolley, which allows you to kind of move it throughout the hallways of the hospital. And then while the admission process is going on, it can just stand on battery power outside the NICU. You don't need to place multiple babies in the same device because they're all already coming in using a single device. Once it's time to actually take the baby into the NICU, you can open the entire device, lift up the tray, and take the baby into the same device, but that's been sterilized, which is inside the NICU environment. And so we've made all the provisions necessary for example, any IV lines or any CPAP lines that are needed. And at this point, it can just remain connected to power and be used as a regular radiant warmer or an incubator.
Right.
So we also just spent some time thinking about the materials and the specifications. And we came up with a super Jugaadu prototype, which was using Arduino. We were doing a lot of testing to see how the temperature maintaining would work using the prototype that we made. So our aim was basically to think about how you could use the same solution across different contexts and kind of make this a much more cohesive and simple process, the process of the baby being transferred to the NICU. And hopefully if something like this, if this concept actually came into being, then it would actually lead to more cost effectiveness for all of the businesses involved, because you're not dealing with multiple pieces of very expensive equipment.
Makes sense.
So that's the project.
Wow. So yeah, so when you said you're going to show a project, I assumed that it's going to be a digital product design project, but this was a product design project, and it was so different in terms of like actually implementing it as a mock prototype for like using Arduino. Also, as design students using Arduino, how was your experience?
It was fun. I would say it's what we were creating was basically a simple flex switch feedback loop. So it wasn't extremely complicated.
Right.
Yeah, we had a few courses in Arduino, so that's why we specifically chose to use that, because it was something we were already familiar with.